Hello survivors and welcome to another video. In this video we're going to be taking a first look at the unique season 2 characters for leagues, and they are Tara and Sandy. First up we're going to look at Tara, who is a tough character. She's going to cost 15,000 of the season tokens and she's a damage dealer. As you can see with her stats, she has 1982 damage, 1460 defense and 1429 HP. For a damage dealer, she has actually pretty decent balanced defensive stats. I kind of like that, if I'm honest. We look at her adrenaline rush, it's 76 AP, so kind of the norm within the damage dealers, not too high. If it was 85, I'd kind of almost instantly write this character off, but as it's 76, it's not too bad. Deal 450% damage to a line of enemies, so kind of weakened version of Tyrese, but slightly faster. This character gets focus for 2 turns and gains 15% AP. Now, the benefit of this is if she is behind an Andrea and you have a Sadiq or any other command within your team, she will be able to rush, then she'll be able to attack for the next 2 turns. She'll get her rush on the second turn when she's still got focus, and she can be commanded on that turn. So she could rush behind shields, which is really nice. It will take her 4 turns to actually get to this, well, 5 turns to get to this situation, because it will be attack, attack, rush, and then attack, attack, command. So, I mean, it's not amazing, but it's not terrible. She has got a specialist skill, however, which is really, really important, because we really lack specialist skills within free-to-play, and leagues is pretty much the main source of free-to-play characters in terms of it's massively openly available to everybody. The specialist skill is not the best in terms of the current meta. Obviously is the revive shield meta, and for it to be a good specialist skill, it would have to be disarm, it would have to be decapitate. So it's not one of the two that are actually going to make a key difference to how the game is and how your teams are going to work. But she is going to get a bit more damage. It's the honor roll specialist skill, which is the same for Marlon and Rosie. And as you can see, it says this character's attack increases by 20% at the end of each turn, up to a max of 120% after 6 turns. Bonus resets if killed, stunned, or impaired. So, you know, stun resist, impair resist are going to be key, very, very important on this sort of character, particularly as you're probably going to use this character against like range teams, and that's basically stun on defense, impair on defense. So you're going to have those resistances up. Obviously, you've got no leader skill, but we'll move across to the active, and as you can see, it's a unique one. We've not seen this one before. It reminds me a little bit of the Red Jesus, where I think he has one. It takes 8 turns or something to get to it, but he has one where he gains full AR just by using his active. I think he gets a damage increase as well. I can't really remember. Never really used it just because battles don't really last that long. But this one is pretty impressive because it's a turn 1 initial cooldown, so she can do it the very first turn. It only has 1 use, and I'd almost say that it's actually very beneficial to just use this straight away because it gets a 6 turn buff and it just scales massively. This character gets 120% defense, which is much more powerful than a shield's defense bonus, which decreases by 20% every turn for 6 turns. So obviously it'll get worse every turn, but you're instantly going to get a massive defense bonus, and that means you don't really have to go towards defense on her combat mods, which is really important because of her specialist skill being on a roll. You're going to need that impair resist, you're going to need that stun resist, and you're going to probably want attack on attack just to give her as much attack as possible. Attack set, of course, in there as well. She hasn't got a specialist weapon, you know, a weapon attached to her, so it is as you've seen her. I think she's pretty good. She's a nice character. She hasn't got a specialist skill that's really going to make the difference, however, and that is the biggest downside to her. So we're going to have to wait 2 more months for another character to come into the store, the season store, that's actually going to break the meta, because at the moment the meta is kind of just boring as hell. I think it's pretty much the obvious way to just put it. It is so boring, the game, in terms of raiding and warring. The meta just revives and shields, just it's boring and slow, and it's really putting a lot of people off the game, and I think that this Tara is not really going to make a difference to that. She is going to do a lot of damage, however, so if you are lacking a tough damage dealer, she might be helpful for you in the meantime until, you know, an actual effective meta breaking character comes into the game and is widely available. Fingers crossed for the next reset on Season Store, hey? So we'll move on to the second character, which is Sandy, and I did hope they'll both be specialists. It's not going to be the case. I think this character has massive upsides and obviously massive downsides. We're going to look at her stats: 1603 attack, 1737 defense, and 1485 on the HP. She is defined as a tank, but she has got reasonably decent attack. We'll look at her Adrenaline Rush, Mock, and Medicate. Deal 300% damage and taunt for 1 turn up to 2 enemies. This character and up to 1 teammate get 30% bonus HP. So actually a pretty decent rush. 2 enemy taunt for 2 turns. Kind of, I think it's identical almost to Cal, like Strong Cal's rush in terms of damage and taunting enemies. But the bonus HP is really nice, obviously, not just to herself, to other people. So she's going to work quite well on a defense team. She is really fast as well, you know, for a 6-star, 66 AP. Not many alert characters are that quick. Now, she's got a leader skill. This is the big downside to this character. She hasn't got a specialist skill. Not only has she got a leader skill, but her leader skill isn't that great. All teammates get 30% HP and a very large bonus to AP when taking damage. Now, if it was when attacking, it would be insane. That would be actually a great character. If that very large bonus to AP when taking damage was something else, like defense or something like that, it would be better. But very large bonus to AP when taking damage is kind of meh. It can be useful if you really don't have a leader. If you didn't pick up Zeke last season, she is a rainbow lead. That's the biggest bonus to her, that she's a rainbow lead. But that second part of the leader skill is not great in my opinion. Now, moving on to the active skill is where this character actually becomes a great character. She has a revive and taunt active skill, so she is going to be a free to play revive. This is incredible, but she's actually a better revive than Solange, and Solange is a 2-month login character, and Sandy is League Season 2 character. I'm not really sure how I feel about this. Obviously, I'm really happy that I'm going to be able to get an active skill revive, but Solange is so much worse than this character when it comes to being a revive. It's a stronger revive on the active skill, and it goes off the same speed. It also taunts 2 enemies for 1 turn, so it does part of her rush on the active skill, not for 2 turns, but for 1. So, I mean, I think this is a really, really nice active skill. It's going to work really well on a defense team. She's got defensive stats already. I think, you know, this is the obvious pick out of these 2 characters, out of Sandy and Tara. If you had to pick between the 2, I'd say Sandy would be the one to go with. And, I mean, like I said, it is a shame that she's not got a specialist skill, but she has got a revive active. The only problem I've really got with this is it's just feeding into the meta that is currently, you know, happening right now. And it's the meta hopefully we'd move away from. I think obviously, I think it should be quite apparent to everybody that revive is very overpowered. The fact that you can do a rush when you're revived, you can actually take a turn when you're revived is not great. You've got full AP still when you're revived, is not great. There are so many upsides to being a revive character. Your rush doesn't scale off any of your stats, whereas an offensive character, obviously, the rush scales off of their damage. So there's a massive downside to stacking damage, is that you can get killed quickly. There's no downside to a defensive character just stacking HP and defense and just rushing and reviving constantly, because nothing scales off of there's no scaling there. So it's just too easy on those sort of characters. And the characters that can combat this, which is disarm and decapitate, just aren't available widely. Unfortunately, there's never been a decapitate or a disarm character that's been in an event, so it's no 100% gain on those characters. So there will be people who have never come up, you know, it's never come up in their supply depot. They've never got lucky in 5-star tokens, and that means they would never have a decapitate, and it's so important to have one right now. It's insane. But in terms of these characters, I mean, it's a little bit of a letdown just because of the specialist skills, but I think they're actually pretty decent. I think Sandy's much better than Mirabelle was last season, for instance. The other characters that are available in the store are going to be Ascendable Naya, as the slot that was held up by Kelly last season. And we also have 3 5-stars, which is going to be Command Heath, who is strong. We also have Dwayne from Hold the Line, and we also have Decapitate Sawyer, who is the yellow character. But these are the 2 unique 6-stars that are going to be in Season 2. Do tell me which one you like the most, which one are you going to be picking up. For me, without thinking too hard, I think I'm probably going to pick up the Revive quickly on one of my regions in particular, just because it would fit directly into my team real quick. But that's it in this video, guys. Do tell me what you think about these characters. And as always, guys, keep on surviving, guys. Keep on surviving.